Before the world had smartphones, before viral clips and fake thumbnails, people were seeing things in the dark that they could never explain, and no one could instantly fact-check. Imagine standing on a lonely road in the 1950s. No dashcam, no live stream, no Google, just you, the cold night air, and something tall, silent, and watching you from the tree line. Not a story on a screen, something breathing, moving, real. Reports of monsters weren't born on the internet. They were written in police logs, whispered in small-town diners, and printed in local newspapers that treated these encounters as serious, documented events. Slow the pace here. Let the wind hum in the background. A faint heartbeat sound layered underneath, and the soft crackle of an old radio fading in and out. Long before the age of hoaxes and CGI, terrified families, trained police officers, even military men described creatures that should not exist.
All winged shapes.
With glowing red eyes. Humanoid figures that smelled of sulfur and metal. Massive wolf-like beasts that walked on two legs and watched from the shadows. These weren't people chasing internet fame. They were people trying to make sense of something that didn't fit inside their understanding of the world. Picture a flickering lantern swaying in the fog. Footprints in wet mud leading into a forest that feels too quiet. The kind of silence that feels alive, like something is holding its breath along with you. More deliberate. Tonight, we travel back to a time when evidence was in digital and fear traveled by word of mouth. When the only proof you had was your shaking hands, your racing heart, and the faces of people who saw it with you. There were no filters to fake fear, no algorithms to reward lies, only darkness, confusion. Stories that survived because too many people told the same terrifying version. So turn down the lights, put on your headphones, and forget the safe, well-lit world you know. Because what you're about to hear are not internet legends. They are real monster sightings. From a time when the night was truly unknown, and some doors once opened were never meant to be closed. The year is 1966. The air in Point Pleasant, West Virginia feels heavier than normal, like the sky itself is pressing down on the ground. Two young couples are driving down a dark, empty road near an abandoned munitions factory. There are no streetlights, no cameras. It's just the sound of tires on gravel and their own nervous laughter trying to fill the silence. Then they see it. A tall, dark shape, standing at the edge of the trees. Red eyes, not reflecting light, but glowing on their own. The figure doesn't run, it doesn't attack. It simply spreads its wings wide, as if it's larger than fear itself. When they speed away, they swear it follows them, flying, keeping pace with their car at over 100 miles per hour. Police take their report seriously. This wasn't a creepypasta, it was a filed case. And what makes it even darker? Less than a year later, the Silver Bridge collapses, killing dozens. People begin to wonder, was the creature a warning? Slow the breath. Because this wasn't the first time something impossible walked out of the woods. In 1952, in the small town of Flatwoods, a bright ball of fire streaks across the sky and crashes somewhere in the forest. A group of children, their mother, and a National Guardsman take a flashlight and follow the glow. The closer they get, the quieter the forest becomes. Crickets stop. Wind dies. At the top of a hill, they see it's something tall, mechanical looking, with a hooded, armored body and eyes like burning coals. The air smells sharp, like metal and sulfur. Their eyes burn. Their throats tighten. Some of them become violently ill. Years later, newspapers and police reports still exist, describing exactly what they saw. No edits, no special effects. Just fear printed in black and white. Then we go back even further. Before cameras, before electricity lit the nights, 1760s rural France. The villages of Gavaudan live in terror. Children vanish. Women are dragged into forests. Bodies are found torn apart in ways wolves don't usually kill. Survivors describe a creature taller than a man with red eyes, a massive tail, and fur patterned with dark stripes. Entire hunting parties are sent out. Even the king sends soldiers. Thousands of bullets. Dozens of traps. And yet the killings continue for years. Was it a wolf? A hybrid? Or something that simply wore the shape of one? No one knows. The only proof left: graveyards filled with unanswered questions. By the 1950s, across the ocean in Ohio, a police officer is driving late at night near the Little Miami River. His headlights cut through thick fog. On the road in front of him, something stands upright. It isn't a man. It isn't an animal. It has leathery skin, webbed hands, and wet, unblinking eyes that reflect the light. The officer stops. The creature doesn't run. It calmly climbs over the guardrail. Not scared, not rushed. Just aware, the report goes into official records. No laughter. Only confusion. And in the frozen winters of New Jersey, in the 1800s, families wake up to find strange hoofed footprints in the snow. Footprints that start in the middle of rooftops and end suddenly at walls or open fields. Livestock are found dead, throats torn, bodies untouched. People swear they've seen a winged thing screaming through the night sky. Not bird, not bat, something twisted, something that shouldn't exist. Towns lock their doors at sunset, schools close, factories shut down. Not because of war, but because of fear. Each of these stories has something modern fakes don't. Witnesses who had nothing to gain, no ad revenue, no followers, no fame, just their names attached to reports that would outlive them. The most terrifying part isn't what they saw. It's what we'll never know. How many of these creatures were never reported? How many times did someone see something, turn around and decide to stay silent? How many monsters never made it into folklore because the witnesses were too afraid to speak? When you think about it, the past wasn't quieter than today. It was louder in a different way. Every shadow mattered. Every rustle in the bushes could be something real. And maybe, just maybe, the monsters didn't disappear when the internet was born. Maybe they just learned that the best place to hide is where no one believes anymore. And now, as the darkness settles back in, one question remains. Why did these sightings fade? Was it because the creatures vanished? Or because the world stopped believing? In a time before screens and endless noise, fear felt closer to the skin. People looked into the woods and the night sky, not for entertainment, but out of real uncertainty. They didn't have comment sections to tell them they were crazy. They didn't have algorithms to decide what was real. They only had the silence, and whatever was standing inside it. Maybe the most terrifying part of these stories isn't what people saw, but what we can never prove. Old police reports collecting dust, newspaper clippings turning yellow, footprints washed away by time, whispered warnings that died with the people who spoke them. The evidence didn't disappear because it was fake, disappeared because time erased it. So tonight, when the lights are dim and your phone screen is the only thing glowing in the room, remember this: the world was darker once, and not because it had fewer lights, but because no one knew what was really out there. And if those monsters were real, if even one of them was, they didn't need the internet to exist. They just needed the dark.